Oh, hi there. Right, today's video is more based around homesteading than it is around gardening. But it's getting up to that time of the year. If you, like us, you've got log burners and log fires, and you process your own firewood. You'll also need to process kindling. Now, kindling is a right nightmare. It's very, very dangerous to do with a chainsaw, unless you've got a kindling clamp. It's just quicker and easier to do by hand, but it takes so long. So what I've done is I've gone about and built myself a jig to cut kindling with a chainsaw. Right, it's a very simple construction. At the bottom here we have a pallet that has been cut in half. So I've got the 6 blocks of the pallet, and the slats of the pallet run along the short length. You can just about make the slats out here. These are the slats of the pallet, and they run along the short length. You can just see it underneath there. Okay. Then what I've done is I took some offcut from the pallet, 2 slats, and I've screwed those down to the pallet to produce a base. Now there's one this side, and there's one on the opposite side. I'm sorry about the light. I'm in a barn today. It's hoiking it down outside, so I thought I'd do something in the dry. Right, these 2 slats serve a purpose. One, they allow me to line up all the uprights. As you can see, they all come up to the slats. Keeps them nice and straight, saves on lots of measuring. It also gives me something solid to bring the chainsaw down onto. Now, as you can see at the back here, now the slats are spaced so that when the chainsaw goes between the uprights, the end of the bar will be level with the back of the uprights. That way we can go all the way through the kindling with one cut and not have to go side to side. So the uprights, I don't know if you can make it out from there. These are the ends of a pallet. I've got a pallet over here, I can show you. Right, that block there down to this block here is an upright. I've cut it off about 2 centimeters below this block here, and then cut it here and here, and what I end up with are uprights. Now, another reason why I chose this particular pallet as my base pallet, apart from the fact that it's solid, is that the slats are exactly the right width to fit between these 2 slats on the base of a pallet. Ideal, perfect. So we've got our 10 uprights. Those are dropped onto the slats, pushed up to this bar, and then you can see I've screwed in through the overlap into the slat. And if you can just make that out. I've also screwed up from underneath into the block, if you can just see it there. And I've done the same on the other side. Now, once I've got all the uprights secured, the next thing to do is to put these base plates in. You can just see it here. If I just move back a little bit, this base plate. Now, these go on top of the blocks. If you can just make out there. The idea is, A, it gives it a bit more strength and support, but B, it raises the kindling off the base of the pallet. That means that I can pass the saw all the way down through the kindling without sawing the pallet or the floor. 2 things we don't want to do. Right, so I think that's last thing is I've used baling twine. It's something that I've got lying around on the farm. I've got a loop at the front here, and at the back I have a length of baling twine. I pass that over the kindling, and I use that to keep the kindling in place. It's not to clamp the kindling down. If you've ever tried to cut kindling with a chainsaw, it bounces around like a bouncy thing. The idea of the bits of baling twine is just to stop it all jumping out of the jig. And one last note, when you load the jig with your kindling, I've started loading this one now. You can see I've tried to evenly distribute the sticks along the bottom. So you try to build it up as evenly as possible so that you've got the same amount of wood to cut through with each cut. I hope that makes sense. It may make more sense when you see it fully loaded. Okay, so time to load it up and get ready. Jig is now loaded with kindling ready to cut. So what I will do is I'm going to make my first cut down here to cut off these longer pieces that are sticking out the end. The second cut down here to cut these longer pieces off that are sticking out the end. And then working in from the sides to the center, I'll cut here, the other end, then here, then here, then here, then here. I find that making the cuts moving in towards the middle of the jig is a lot easier. Just something to note, the baling twine that I use here to hold the sticks in place, this is not to clamp the sticks down. The baling twine is there just to stop the kindling from jumping around when the chainsaw first hits it. It's more of a safety precaution as opposed to clamping the wood in place. If you do clamp the wood in place with the straps or the string, what you'll find is that the chainsaw will start digging in and catching on the wood as the pressure and the tensions release. So there we go. Time to get the saw out and make some noise. Now I'm going to have to stop the video here and come back after I've done the sawing, for the obvious reasons that one-handed chainsawing while making a video is probably not the wisest of things. So back in a minute. I've done the chainsawing thing, and as you can now see, my pile of sticks has been reduced to kindling. And I reckon there's probably about a wheelbarrow's worth of kindling come out of the jig, and I would expect that to last three weeks here, maybe 4 weeks. So it is a quick and easy way to process kindling with a chainsaw. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you soon.